We're now on Daf Yud and Beis Mifagel. So in this case, where his Machshavas Pigel was not on the Shirayim per se, but rather what? Lahaktir Kumtza. Right, the Aktoris Hakomitz has to be today. He had in mind for the Aktoris Hakomitz tomorrow. And yet he's Chai Mishum Pigel, even according to Rabbi Yossi, on the Achila of the Shirayim, is Hacha, de Chashiv Behu Bezvicha Gufa. You can't deny that the two thighs of one carbon, one animal, is Lo Kolshke. So here Rabbi Yossi would certainly hold that a Machshavas Pigel for part of the behema, meaning the thigh or the right thigh, would certainly generate pigul on the left thigh. Okay. Now, after three kashas, objections, and contradictions to Rav Huna's interpretation of Rabbi Yossi, we now introduce Rabbi Yochanan's interpretation of Rabbi Yossi. Elam Rabbi Yochanan Taima de Rabbi Yossi Hakosev Ason Guf Echad. Why is Rabbi Yossi saying that if he had a machshava of chutz lizmano at the time of the let's say the shchitas hakvasim on one of the two lechamim, it does not effectuate pigul on the other lechem because hason keguf echad v'akos v'ason shnei gufim. The status of the two lechamim, the shtei lechem, is a very complex status. It's kishnei gufin and keguf echad. How so? Guf echad ma'akve ahadadi. If he brings only, right? If he would, let's say, bring the carbon on one lechem, it would not be kosher because it's guf echad ma'akve ahadadi. We need both lechamim, but shnei gufim d'machmana. Right, we had a drasha to establish two lechamim as two gufim. Is that's holachude avide v'holachude avide. Right, we consider them as two separate entities, and therefore, now we're going to apply these principles as far as pigul is concerned. Are they two entities? The two lecham are one entity. Irvinu misarvin. If he had in mind a machshavas pigul of a kezayis worth of both lechamim, then we see them as guf echad. Takasuv ason guf echad, and therefore the pigul will be chal. But palginu miflag. But if, on the other hand, he only had an intention on right of chutzisman on one of the two lechamim, then we consider them as trei gufin. Takasuv ason kishnei gufin. Boy, Rabbi Yochanan Piga Belachme Toda Mahu. Right, there are four categories of lechamim when a person brings a carbon toda, and the question is, how do we view them? Do we view them as one goof or a separate goofim? Because they're each a separate category. Right? There are 40 breads in four categories. 10 are chametz, 10 are matzah, 10 are wafers, 10 are matzah made of a different kind of flour called scalded flour. Rabbi Yochanan wants to know what Rabbi Yossi would hold in a case where the Kohen had a machshavas chutzes mano on one of the four types of lechem. Does Rabbi Yossi maintain that these are like gufim mechulakim, and it's like the shtel lechem? Or should we say, no, it's like the lechem haponim? I'm sorry, it's, or should we say that all four types of, since the zrikas hazevach is matter all four types, therefore it's considered not only from the perspective of one matir, but also in terms of his machshavas chutzes mano of pigul would also consider the pigul and would generate pigul on all four categories. With minchas mafe mahu. Okay, minchas mafe is a sugya that comes up later on in Masech. It's a baked matzah that had 10 matzah breads. Some were loaves and some were wafers. 5 loaves according to Rav Shimon and 5 wafers. So once again, Rabbi Yochanan wants to know that if we assume that the mincha, which has 5 loaves and 5 wafers, are considered like guf echad, then the machshavas pigul on one of the two would effectuate pigul on the other. Or do we see them as trei gufin? Tanole Rabbi Tachlifa mimarova, v'cheinato omer belachmi tod v'cheinato minchas mafe. In other words, the same machlokus between Rabbi Yossi and the Chachamim will apply here in these cases as well. In which Rabbi Yochanan would then, in which case Rabbi Yossi would say that they're two separate entities, shnei gufim, like the case of shtei lechamim of shvuos. Tana Rabbanan learned to the brayso b'shas shchita chishev lechol chatzi zayis b'shas rika chishev lechol chatzi zayis. Can a machshava of chutzes mano at the time of the shchita integrate into a machshava of chutzes mano of machshavas pigul at the time of zrika? And the answer is yes. We integrate the two of them. Shchita zrika mitztarf. Right, but basically, the matir is a combination of shchita and zrika. Ika diamri. Now we have another tradition that says just the opposite. Shchita uzrika de travayu matirin in. Kabbalah halocha lo, but ika diamri hanich de merachakim kolshkein hanich de mekarvin. According to the ika diamri, the shchita and the zrika are very far apart, right? You're going to have Kabbalah Saddam, Holoch Saddam right in the middle. And if they combine to affect Pigul, then how much more so in the case of Kabbalah Halacha, which are right next to each other. So if you had a machshav of Chutz Lizmano of a Chatzi Zayis at the time of Kabbalah and a machshav of Chutz Lizmano at the time of Halacha, that would be mitzaref and generate Pigul. Eini. So Gemara says, is it really true that you can integrate the machshavas pigul of chatzizais of shchita with that of zrika? V'atani levi arba avodos ein mitztarfus lepigul shchita zrika kabbalah halacha. So it would seem from the brayso of Levi that no combination can be effectuated. There are 4 different avodos of a carbon. Amarav lo kasha harebi harabanan. Okay. So we have to find out, how do we know that Rebbe disagrees with the Rabbanon on this count, and Rebbe holds that, as we saw before in the name of Levi, a brayso that says that we cannot integrate machshavas pigul from any of the 4 avodos. Tisani we learned to the brayso, shochet es hakeves lechol chatzi zayis mechalazu. V'chein chavero, he shechts the other lamb, lechol chatzi zayis michal zu, for the second challah of the shtei lechem. Rebbe Omer Anisha zeh kosher. So we see, according to Rebbe, that even though he had an intention of chutz zmano on 2 half a kazesim, and these 2 half a kazesim should be integrated because the 2 chalas form one entity of shtei lechem. Nevertheless, it's not pigul. And why is that? Because, like we saw in the brayso of Reb Levi, Rebbe agrees to that brayso that we don't have this integration. Right? It follows that the brayso taught by Reb Levi, let's see, represents Rebbe's opinion. Oh, he doesn't tell you. Just one second. Oh, maybe here. Just one second. Just let me. There's just one little piece of the puzzle here that's missing. Not sure what he means here. Abaye says, I don't like Rava because Ema de Shamet Leila Rebbe, Chatzi Matir, V'Chatzi Achila, Bakula Matir, V'Chatzi Achila, Mishamet Le. Right, our issue is Kulo Matir, V'Chatzi Achila. Right? I think the Kulo Matir here would be the Shchita and the Zrika, if I understand that correctly. Right, because Reb Levi says Arba Avodos Ein Mitzarfen Lepigul, and now Abai is saying that that Rebbe would reject that. And why would reject it? Because it's Kula Matir. Just see. He says here, perhaps Rebbe agrees that if one intends for half of an olive's volume during the slaughter, oh, very good, and another half of an olive during the Zrika, the intents do combine to affect Pigul. So it's not like the Brisa of Rabbi Levi. Why? Because Rabbi Levi says that the four avodas are separate and there's no tziruf of machshavas pigul from one avod to the other. No, Rebbe would hold that there is tziruf from the shchita to the zrika. So now again, we have a problem with Levi's brisa, right? He says the four avodas did not integrate to form machshavas pigul of chiv kares, and yet we had a brisa above that says that we can be mitzari from machshavas pigul from shchita chetzi zayis chutzizmanu with the machshavas pigul at the time of the zrika. Amalei Rava Bar Chanan Labaye ve'i is le Rebbe kula matir v'chatzi achila ligzar chatzi matir v'chatzi achila atu kula matir v'chatzi achila. To Horab Yosi Gozer for Rabbanan Gazri. So now we get into this Gzera. And what would be the Gzera? Ligzar Chatzi Matir v'Chatzi Achila. Right? There are two matirim, let's say Shchita and Zrika. And each one individually is a Chatzi Matir, and on each one he had Chatzi Achil, he had half a zayis. Otu, and let's be afraid of Kula Matir v'Chatzi Achila. Let's say he had a machshavas chutzizmano of an entire kizayis at the time of the shchita, at the time of the zrika. Now, what's exactly the gzera? I'm not. What is the gzera? Maybe he'll bring a carbon. Is that what we're talking about? Since, let's see if this is relevant to us. Since in a case of a half a zayis during shchita, half a zayis during zrika, the carbon is pigul, and you're going to get kares, then Rebbe should make a decree in the case of a half a zayis intent during the shchita of one lamb, and a half a kazayis intent during the shchita of the other lamb, the loaves are unfit for consumption rabbinically. Or Rabbi Yossi Gozer, Rabbanan Gozer, Rabbi Yossi Gozer, Disnan, etc. So I think that maybe, even though we didn't get to the Mishnah like I had hoped to, I think we should stop here because that's as far as I was able to prepare. I mean, this is two blot Gemara when we had a very full house for Shabbos, and that's what I can accomplish. So you're here alone today. You're not here tomorrow. Well, we don't know. Maybe someone else will show up. We don't know.
Yeah, I think Asher should be there tomorrow. So he has Opan on Sundays at noon.
Ah, so
So that's why he's not here on Sundays.
he can't be here on Sundays. Hmm. Maybe we should shoot for an early hour on Sundays. I don't know.
Uh
I don't know.
yeah.
I leave it to you to juggle this. All right. Have a great day, and
All right, you too.
should be an
All right.
Aliyas Neshama for your sister-in-law.